Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Europa Universalis IV with me, Alfapiomega, Meiou and Taxes, and Denmark. So today we are starting a new episode and a new session with the event The Captivity. Concerned by the threats to the Papal States, the Pope has relocated the Curia, seeking the support and protection of a powerful Christian ruler. In effect, handing over considerable influence to the state and insulating the Curia from our influence. We can only see this as a blow, the victory of cynical politicking over faith. This cannot be good for the Church. It actually isn't, but the Pope hasn't moved that far. He used to be in Avignon, which I believe is this province. It's Avignon, so Venice. And he moved down here to Basilicata. Wonder... province, this one. Development 17, development 14. Okay, so he went to a slightly worse province, but he is protected by Sicily, as I understand. Or if I understand the event correctly. For us, not much has changed. I believe that he is still distance from the Vatican and hostile religious head. Is Aragon hostile to us? Or is he hostile to everyone? That is pretty weird. There was a funny thing when I loaded up the game where the Pope was living for like a week and was immediately succeeded by a different Pope. And it was a controversial, lustful Pope as well, so it was even more funnier by that. Anyway, the plan for this episode is simple. We needs to get rid of the pretender successor we have, Eric Griff. We need to accumulate more prestige, so I'll see what I can do in regards to gaining more prestige. If there are any events that will boost my prestige, I'm gonna take them no matter the cost, and then we're just gonna tell him to fuck off. Which will in turn hurt us significantly, but I actually believe that we are in a good spot and can get a legitimate Estrid heir. I will not bow to the game trying to railroad me. Denmark and the whole of Scandinavia is the domain of the Estrid, and we will make it so. The Justinian Code. Humanism judged the Roman classics on their merits rather than their religion, allowing scholars to study them once more. Many of them survived only in Greek, and so humanist scholars such as Meiou and Taxes made a living by translating them into Latin. Of particular interest was the Code of Justinian, a code of laws established in the later Roman Empire. Customary medieval law focused heavily on precedent and oral tradition and was resistant to change, whereas Roman law was set out clear rules and gave power to the state. It was tempting for the Queen to introduce Roman law to Denmark by establishing royal courts that could bypass common law and give the Queen the power to raise taxes. Although this was a popular idea with humanists, it was seen as a naked power grab by the nobility and peasants who stood to lose power. Gee, I wonder why. So we can either introduce Roman law in Denmark, which means we lose stability and have a 45% chance to lose 40 legitimacy, but a 55% chance to gain 200 administrative power. Or we can use the threat of it to wrest concessions at court. Or we can reject the Roman law entirely. I actually don't think that our master theologian queen would introduce Roman law in Denmark and stand against the Curia this way. But I also don't think that she would reject it entirely. If she's an industrious queen, she knows how to use her words. So let's use the threat of it to wrest concessions at court, which is a handy 75 administrative power. In the meantime, by the way, I have gained an advisor called Meiou and Taxes, who increases our prestige and lowers the idea cost. So he costs us 0.72 gold per month. But he increases prestige, so definitely he's in. As years pass, we are getting closer to getting rid of Eric Griff, but in the meantime, we gained enough sailors to build that extra ship that we can to get the maximum naval force limit, and we are currently building it in Skåne. It's going to be ready on 2nd of July 1452, and it's probably going to sail in the North Sea. Now, I was going again about the buildings and, trying to figure out what to do next. And I realized that Industrious Queen would probably prefer the warehouses. Now, if she could, she would probably build a corporation guild, which I would as well, because that gives awesome bonuses. But instead, she's probably going to go with the warehouse next. So we're going to build this one. It gives production power plus 15%, a boost to local trade as well, and some boost to urban gravity, both flat and modifier. But the plan is going to alternate between building the warehouse and then upgrading our ships. We have one in Skåne, and once this one from Skåne will be finished, I'm going to start pulling one after another ships from the sea, putting them to Skåne to be modified. I'm going to start with the oldest ones, with the warcogs, because those are the worst, and we're going to effectively get all the way. I'm actually not sure about the Latin-celled caravels, but if we'll have excess money, we'll do them as well. But warcogs and Krayers go first, because they are really much weaker than the current caravels we can get. It's going to take a while though, and I think by the time that this ship is ready, we ought to... Actually, no, we won't have enough for... that sucks. So first this ship, then the warehouse, then we'll start upgrading the ships. Though, it could do what I did before and demand money from the burghers, but that would lower their loyalty by 7. Can we give them a favor for that? Low cabinet seats, that would give us a bit of corruption. Or we can go with inflation. We already do have quite a lot of inflation. Actually, let's do that and lower the inflation a bit to keep it at bay. We have gained a bit of administrative power, so it's not such a problem. By the way, we'll soon have to take the diplomatic technology, even through the heinous bonus that we face there. And let's demand support from the burghers and steal their money. Should I send domestic merchants adventuring? No, let's demand money. Money is always good. So now we might have it's going to be 251 days. That's like 6 months. In 6 months, we're going to gain 46 gold. It's going to be really close, but... Once we build the warehouse, I'm going to start saving up for the ships, because they give us a lot of trade power, and I'd like to strengthen them. Which is why the Krayer is going to go to the coast of fjords and to the sea beyond it. Okay, I guess that's all the... Oh, one more thing. I have asked the nobles, greater nobles, I found out that they can do something that's called improve surf condition. And it does one thing that I never noticed, and that is increases the growth of your urban population by a very small amount. Actually, I think it says like 3%. But hey, it's 3% and that's worth it in my opinion. Oh my god, you guys, grow. Grow. Actually, I think you're growing, but... Grow faster. This is painful. I was reading AR about some... I think it was Köln. Where is it? It was one of these cities here. Yeah, they're all united. I don't think it was you, though. I think it was one of these cities in the HRE, one of the 3 cities in the HRE, and it starts with 50,000 people in the city in year 1343 or 1345, and we are almost we are actually in the second half of the 15th century, and we still don't have that. We have 46,000 people living in our capital. That's just pitiful. Denmark is so poor. So, we are just finishing the construction of the ship in Skåne. So I'd like you to meet my new ship, the first caravel in our fleet, which will be called Nederhorst. So Nederhorst is gonna go protect trade into the North Sea. Don't worry, the game is kind of lying about these things. I don't know why, but it works for North Sea. It doesn't work for the other ones, I guess because we are forwarding trade there. And I'm already sending the first warcog, the Infotsretten, back to Skåne to upgrade. So we do have the money. I sold some noble titles, which is a reason why I was able to already start the construction of the warehouse. And I also used my manpower and a bit of gold to build a fort in our capital and start a road construction, which, yeah, it shows here, in our Skåne province. So that's gonna help there as well. And this warcog is now going to get upgraded to a caravel. However, it's gonna take a while before it will be repaired. I wonder how long actually. Depending on that, we might want to build a naval dry dock here sooner than a shipwright somewhere else. Though the shipwright in this province, yeah, would be so cheap. But as I said, we barely can afford the sailors that we have right now. Though the diplomatic power is still increasing. Okay, that's gonna take a while. Actually, is it like 5% per month? That would mean it takes 20 months, which is 600 days, which is pretty much the same amount that you take to build a new ship. Because one thing I noticed was that I can actually sell my ship to England for 10 gold. So I could have just sold the ship and built a new one and made some profit. It's pretty weird. I hope that's not the case. In any way, we are really going up to diplomatic power, but we're also growing in prestige, which is cool. And the entire kingdom is getting better. I have checked the population. It is growing nicely. We are now at almost 1.4 million people. Urbanization, however, is sitting at 8.6%. Meissen wants to be our rival. You don't say. You don't say. Well, we share your attitude, you bastards. So we're gonna come and deal with you. Okay, the urban gravity is here going well. Yeah, this city is still the largest regional city. I want to take it away from them. How is that possible though? You have 43,000 and we have 36. Yeah, we need to get more people here. But they grow as they can. The greater nobles are getting super based, and there's not much I can do with that. We can't really offer them favors or any privileges. We could revoke privileges from the lesser nobles though, but there's only the partial relaxation of levy obligation or the low tax exemption. I'm actually thinking we will revoke one of those right now, just for the hell of it. Both would help with corruption significantly. So what do we want? More money or more levy? I think 40% or 20% tax. Okay, let's deal with the tax first. That one will help us more in building up our fleet and stuff. And as they control most of the income, I'm pretty happy. Okay, 50% chance and we've done it. Okay, awesome. Still at +2 stability, which is good. We have, what? points per year. Okay. 199 points and we need 300. However, we're getting a very low amount. I think it might be because of prestige though. Technology-wise, not much to say. How far are we away from the idea? Not far. Not very far. The naval force summit will be awesome. Plus 20%. That will give us actually 5 extra ships. So I might, instead of upgrading the ships, I might just save up for that. That might seem like a better investment. Huh. Interesting. Okay, a couple of months have passed and we can now invest in, well, not a new technology, but a new idea. The boarding parties. So let's do that. The boarding parties increase our morale of navies by 5%. By teaching our naval officers to lead boarding actions against enemy ships, we can gain an edge in naval combat even when fighting superior enemy fleets. So that's awesome. And we're on our way to naval cadets. I've started the building of the next ship in Skåne. I want to see which ship will be ready soon. The Caravel has about 25 or 24% on the Caravel that we're building, but if they are repaired and built at the same time, I'm just gonna sell one of the Warcogs or Crayers that we have here to the English and enjoy the limit that we have. However, as we accumulated a bit more money, I realized that there are a number of diplomatic options that we can do to gain prestige. We can donate stand lands to the church, which will give us 6 prestige, 3 legitimacy, and we lose 15 golds in turn for 5 church influence. So let's do that. And that actually puts us in a situation where we can disinherit Eric. And I'm really interested if we will get a new heir, because this is actually kind of interesting for me. But as I said, the Esther dynasty will prevail. We have been forced to put away one of our babies, which was just born, and the Esther dynasty will just not have that. So now, Queen Margaret, Stanislav Jagellon, it's up to you to find us a new heir. So, get to it. Well, the ship in Skåne has been finished, Victoria, and I'm gonna send it to protect trade. As you can see, it is much faster than actually renewing our old ships. I guess that's a good thing, but I then don't see any reason to do it, honestly, which kinda doesn't fit the type of game that Meiou makes Europa Universalis into. So there must be some, well, you don't lose or you don't gain sailors in this case, so interesting. Oh, we lost a coin on Wismar. Well, we're gonna renew it. They're occupied by Verwa, so I think they're gonna eat them up, and I'm already building a spy network there. The succession of Margaret. The lack of an heir apparent for the Danish throne is a pressing matter, not only for herself but also for the realm at large. It has been suggested that Poppetet van Schellinghout, a young and promising scion of the distant branch of the Ested family, could perhaps be introduced in the Copenhagen court, and in time take place as Margaret's successor. Poppetet Estrid with a strong claim. We will never see a Frisian noble on our throne. No. Margaret will have her own successor. And by the way, we have finished the Build Up the Navy mission, which gives us 10 tradition. Now we have subjugated Verden. Interesting. We have in the meantime finished also the workshop, which is awesome. I don't think the population has been recalculated properly though. No, it hasn't. Plus we're building the fortress, which will be finished later this year. So that's gonna boost our performance as well. The ship Infotsaretten is still being upgraded, which is really weird. I'm just gonna invest this money into building another ship in Skirna right off the bat, and then I'm gonna sell some. Though on the other hand, we're gaining military power, so I might just keep the ships until we are able to... Oh, here it is. To get that mission Naval Cadets. Because that's gonna increase our naval force limits by 20%. Though, you know what? Actually, the sailor problem is popping up again. We have only 10 sailors. Crap. And I'm really hoping that Margaret can get us a son or a daughter. You know, she's 41. He's 40. Hey! Speaking of which, Hakon. The succession is safe. Hakon Estrid. Average claim. Really? Why? He's pretty good. He's much better than the guy from Pomerania that was suggested. Okay, so the warehouse in Norge Zealand is finished, and I'm thinking we might build another warehouse in Zealand, because that one is also a strong production house, it seems. It has a bit of autonomy though, but other than that, the taxation is pretty good. How's the road construction going on here? May 1457. Pretty good. Everything seems to be pretty good. I'm happy. And 1790. Yeah, we have to take the technology right now. So heavy ship guns. Although cannons had been used on ships as early as the 100 Years' War, they saw limited use due to their heavy size. Prince John, that's probably heavy weight, I guess. Prince John II of Portugal had his ships outfitted with a reinforced gun deck that could hold the heavy guns, allowing him to bring more guns with him on board of the ships. Naval morale increased. Ain't that awesome? How high is our morale actually at this point? Morale of armies 0.51, but morale of navies 2.97. Nice. Man, our navies are becoming pretty daunting. And I just wanted to say, let's start building another ship. But we can't. We don't have the sailors. Crap. So you know what? Let's pull out one more of these caravels. Or, no, not caravels. These warcogs. And just slam it into Scanner so it can repair. I guess it's a sort of role-playing way how to do this. Okay, you stay here, guys. Split. Give me a warcog. Is there any other that was damaged? No, not a single one. So you guys will continue protecting the trade in the North Sea. And you will go to Scanner, because we have pretty much finished up on Infodretten, so you are the next to go. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I completely missed that we can now get the printing press, level 14 of administrative technology, which gives us probably the printing press. It was painfully slow to copy a book by hand, and carved wooden block prints were nearly as difficult to make. The invention of movable type by Johann Gutenberg in 1430s, or actually not that far behind, spurred a new wave of cheaply printed books and a change from book printers to publishing houses, which gives us a capital type building, which we might build eventually, but at this point it's so expensive for us. 1500 gold it costs. It's insane, but it gives quite a big bonus. I don't know if there's one in Paris or not. Paris usually has all these buildings, so it's a good example. Yeah, it does. Capital rank 1. Base urban gravity plus 5. Urban gravity modifier 25%, but urban maintenance 30. Damn. But that helps with the communication efficiency as well. I think it halves the communication efficiency time that you get for, you know, your entire empire. So I think effectively it pays for itself because it lowers the autonomy everywhere. I also did not mention that a bit of time ago we have gotten an increased centralization, so our limit is not 45 anymore but 50. I was considering getting a policy to increase this, and I think we're actually gonna go with it because the centralization is very useful and we have spare points, even though it pains me that it's an administrative thing. But the centralization, as I said, greatly lowers autonomy, so that's something that we really like, and it gives us a bonus to inflation reduction and trade power and technology costs, so I really like it. I like to have a very high centralization, which I guess is a bit weird because I'm very liberal as a person. I guess that's all for now. Oh, we have the fort finished in our capital, so our urban gravity now is still 45,000. It did not recalculate yet. Okay, but we'll get it. We're not doing great, but we are keeping in times with other empires, which makes me happy. I checked the economic map mode. As far as trade values go, we really suck, but our capital and Scana actually is getting better, but we are nowhere near, for example, of Picardy or Burgundy, and there is no map mode for economy, so I mean for taxation, so I don't really know how we're doing. Well, yeah. And in regards to technology, we are starting to be really good. When you check it, we are... Wow, the Turks are getting really good as well. They're at the same level of military as we are. But we're leaving Sweden and Norway behind us, as well as Poland. But I'm still planning on that war with Bohemia. I can't really get into it though, because they have... Poland has been playing their favorite game of raping Teutonics. I don't even know what the war is over now. It's like the 4th war in a row. Polish-Teutonic War of Polish Unification. Oh, they're trying to probably annex them? That is bold. But once that is done, I really think we will be able to attack them, especially because I want to get these provinces. I don't know actually if I can... I don't have a casus belli against Wismar, but I do have one against Verla. And if I can then claim that I would like Schwerin, maybe, and if we attacked Wismar as well, that would be pretty good. Let's start building a spy network there as well. Cultural unrest, you idiots. Okay, I will do one more thing before I end this episode, and that is check how the assimilation is going here. 58.55%. Not bad. And is Rügen actually assimilating? No. I guess it's because of the poor communication. That's really bad. We need to build a port here. I really have to. But not before we gain some more sailors. This is really poor. This is really poor. But the ship is getting repaired. Oh, and last bit of news. I have strengthened my army to 11,000 because we, for a long time now, were able to. So I thought that it might be a good time to do it. Because, I mean, why the hell not? It's actually a pretty good thing to have a strong standing army. Even Sweden now has 2,000 men in standing army, so that's pretty good.